ENS where you're connecting your social and creating a social presence in Web3 and sort of linking it to Web2. So for name tags, you go on to their website and you can buy a blank name tag and you can register it under whatever name they have available, and then you can link that to your wallet. So it will, track what NFTs you hold, and then your name tag you can tie to your social media like Twitter, and then go on Twitter with your bonus name tag, and then anyone else who also has the extension can see your bonus name tag and just at a glance see that you hold certain NFTs in certain collections, be it art blocks or apes and all that. And I just know that they were planning on launching for a while, and they were one of those projects that launched, had a lot of hype, and just disappeared for months and months and months. And then I know you saw that as an opportunity, Quez, and you were like, I can do better than this. I'm going to fix it. So that was months ago. Like, what's been going on since then? What was it like joining NameTag, and what have you been working on with them?
I would say for clarification's sake, this was about 9 months ago, which I know in NFT land we consider to be decades of time passing by. But yes, 9 months ago, NameTag was launched, and it is arguably what a lot of folks are seeing with the Genesis tags. Something I'm super happy to dive into further detail later. But as of kind of what's been going on so far, I mean, it's been a lot on building. I think that's probably one of the most distinguishing components of this project is that a lot is not going to happen in a week, nor in a month, nor in any amount of like particular time, I guess. But as we look back over the course of these 9 months, where we were at launch day to where we are today, I mean, just in user count is substantial. I believe today, as of this morning, we broke 26,000 registered name tags. And if I'm not mistaken, and that's across both the Genesis and the General collection, which again, I'll go into further detail later. They're both functionally the same. But in hindsight, or rather, in the grand scheme of things, that is, if I'm not mistaken, the third most unique owners in the entirety of the NFT space. Whereas other projects like ENS, which I love that you brought up earlier today, I would also love to discuss some of the key components that differentiate us from ENS, and also welcome the discussion of not ENS or name tag, but rather a needed ENS and name tag. I think that's a very
Ooh.
clear distinction to be making here. But yeah, man, we got a lot we could talk about today. But
Dude,
as of right now, yeah, I think you said it quite elegantly. Very much working on building that social layer between an otherwise fragmented world of Web 2 and Web 3. One of the things that I discovered during my corporate career, still in the Web 2 world, by the way, looking to make my jump very soon. Super excited about it. But one of the things that I discovered while working in tech sales is largely that as much as you want your clients to be using the shiny new cool thing way over there, let's call that Web 3, they're not there yet. They're in Web 2. I mean, look at where we are right now, right? We're having a space here on Twitter. And it's not, this is again no knock against any other platform out there, but we're not discussing anything in Decentraland, nor in Sandbox, nor in any of those places. It's not to discredit the amazing work that's been done so far, but where are people today? Here in Web 2 world. So just because Web 3 comes around does not mean that we just up and leave the tools, the platforms that we leverage today.
I'm
And
glad. Oh, go
oh,
ahead.
sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to respond to what you were saying. I really think that that's a really valuable perspective. It's crazy because, like you were saying, you started this project 9 months ago, which is literally decades in the NFT space. But the NFT space just has a hunger for speed, and at some point, it's just not sustainable. Like you can't just move fast forever without building a solid infrastructure or foundation. And you're definitely right. Like in terms of where we as users and as people, we're more based in Web 2 than Web 3 at the moment. So watching projects like NameTag launch here that are sort of bridging, Web 2 into Web 3 and slowly building out for the average person who's going to be using it so that they're actually leveraging these shiny tools properly. I definitely resonate with that. So that's a very interesting perspective, and I'm glad that we can have this conversation here. I do want to jump into it though, because you were saying that there's big differentiators between you guys and ENS, or maybe a case where it's the two of those merging together. You want to maybe break that down a little bit for people listening, like what's differentiating you from ENS, which is just, coming up with a nickname for your wallet address and then people can send directly to you?
Absolutely. So before I begin, I'd like to maybe also jump into the inception. Like, what was the start of Nametag? What was the problem we were trying to solve? I think that's going to allow for everyone involved to have a clear idea of what this is and where we are going from there on. And then, of course, I'd be very happy to dive into our differentiators here. I'd like to start off by saying that Nametag is all about provable username ownership. And why is that important? Well, my friends, I invite all of you when you get a chance to view the terms of services of any of the major platforms that you use today. Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, TikTok, you name it. You may discover that in that terms of service, as it pertains to the section beyond usernames, that many of the platforms have very clearly stated that your username to them is nothing more than a string of text, and that therefore they offer you nor are required to give you any sort of protections and essentially are moving any sort of liability from their hands onto literally whoever else. It's nothing more than a string of text. And listen, to the individual who comes on to Twitter and is maybe just having a chat about their favorite sports team, or want to debate about which is the best shoe that's out in the game right now. Okay, perhaps their username maybe doesn't mean all too much to them, but I wonder, is this something you could say to Nike? Could you say that to Dr. Disrespect? Without me saying this gentleman's name, all of you will know exactly who I'm talking about, and his name is Champagne Papi. This makes me wonder, the individual who can be recognized by their username, it has some sort of inherent value. That's brand recognition and, more importantly, digital identity. And this is critical because what did we say was the issue before? None of those major platforms are offering you any sort of protection on your username. So that's what name tags started off as, the idea that you can own your username, and that you could do things with it. Now you could, because all of your string of text is now stored as an ERC-721 token, you're able to buy, sell, trade, or transfer ownership of said asset. Now, however, rather than just storing these tokens or storing these usernames, forgive me, we wanted to do something a little bit more. Username infrastructure over the course of the last 25 years has largely been unchanged and has simply been a unique identifier. And we like to think that with the tools, with the services, with eventually what we will formally call a protocol that we are building to help connect the fragmented worlds of Web 2 and Web 3, we will see a powerful use case for where Nametag becomes the ideal username infrastructure for all platforms universally, and not just in the social component. No, no. Those of you here who are also big fanatics of the world of Web3, much like I am, perhaps you would also agree that the future is not just in one chain, but it's rather cross chain. And even our existing tool set today enables you not just to show off your NFTs on one chain, but also on Solana. So you're both on Ethereum and Solana, with even more chains being supported here in the very near future. So that's kind of like where we started, the mission statement that Nametag has, and therefore a bit on the direction of where we're looking to go. You mentioned earlier that, hey, I would like to know some of the differences between ENS and Nametag. And I think that conversation often comes up because people are trying to have this debate on which of the two is going to be more powerful, which of the two actually does something. And you're hearing it right here from the Nametag account. We are fans of what ENS has built. They've been around since 2017 and have built a magnificent protocol with their Ethereum naming service. The thing is, and I mentioned this earlier about the struggle that people have between going from Web 2 to Web 3. ENS is very well built out with over 500 integrations that mainly exists in a world of Web3. And again, I dial back to where we are having our conversations today. I think that in one way, the main use case that people look to leverage from ENS is the reverse resolution feature. And for those of you who don't know, that's simply where you have your 0x chain of numbers and letters, your wallet address, and it gets resolved to something like umquez.eth, nametag.eth. And the idea is that it's a very simple way for your wallet address to get recognized. We like to think that there's a level in which we could take this further, and we can perhaps start building out a social layer. So how is it that you're leveraging your wallet? What kind of collections do you have? What, like, how often are you interacting within certain communities? Could you imagine being, getting a certain set of points based on the interactions that you have on social media accounts, or even in virtual, again, I'm thinking back to these Decentraland sandboxings of the sort, and those virtual worlds where those interactions, those social components actually mean something more than just. I shouldn't say actually mean something. They all mean something, but are you're being rewarded for those kind of interactions. That's very much the area that Nametag is looking to build out in. So when you think Nametag, we urge you to look into the realm of social, of gaming, of connecting a fragmented world into something universal that can be used everywhere that you go. That's name tag.
Awesome. No, really great stage setting for what you guys are building, and I appreciate you mentioning ENS and stating that you're fans of them and don't see them as a competitor. I guess if you can maybe take a step further though into how you're building it, because I think it's a really cool concept that you're trying to connect socials across Web3, and it's not just limited to Solana, or it's not just limited to ETH, but also Solana, and you're really trying to build out to encompass all these chains. And as someone who's researched your project and gone into it, I see all the things that you have planned for the future. I saw that you plan on doing whitelist spots for people who are active with their name tags, airdrops, a lot of access to projects. But for people who are just hearing name tag for the first time and maybe know nothing about it, could you give maybe like the explain like I'm five version, or just the overview rundown of like what are the main current features you have in name tag that are allowing people to bridge their Web3 presence into Web2 socials?
Absolutely. And that's a great question, man. Thank you. So perhaps individuals who are joining here on their PCs and computers today, right now, you could head over to nametag.org or visit us over on our Discord, and you will see that there's an official link to download a name tag extension. And this extension is something that you can add to your Chrome or your Brave browser, which enables to, we call it like a layer two club, so to speak, where if you have your name tag, you own one, or hell, even if you don't have one at all, but using this extension, you can see directly on twitter.com. So again, I didn't have to ask anyone to leave Twitter, but right here on twitter.com, you're able to view who has their name tag integrated. You can go in and select on their profile an NFT tab, and more so, you can then review their galleries, all from within twitter.com. And this right now, as it stands, is very much what we call a tech demo of what's possible. Because as of right now, we are not actively able to, uh, I mean, for obvious reasons, Twitter is a bit of a closed environment. We're not able to immediately jump in and build a native integration alongside them. A lot of you may know about Twitter Blue and their very highly anticipated profile picture verification feature. And one of the biggest drawbacks, or not, I shouldn't say drawback, that's not the right word choice. One of the biggest, I think, affirmations that we got was we had initially started building out our solution for specifically for profile picture verification. And this was at a time, again, think back to 6 months ago, and I know that feels like forever ago, it kind of is. But think back to 6 months ago when we had initially released the extension. at the time, the NFT space arguably did not have more, and I'm being generous here, more than 35,000 people at a time talking about NFTs. And I would say an even smaller subset of that group actually owned NFTs. And a lot of folks were, using profile pictures that weren't actually there or theirs, excuse me. And there was no real way to determine who did or didn't own that NFT. So what did Nametag do? We were the very first group to ever launch a true profile picture verification system that could work natively on Twitter.com. Twitter is a massive platform that has 65 million users. And you're telling me that the moment that they saw a small group of 36,000 people, an even smaller set that actually owned those NFTs, as soon as they saw that there was someone building a native verification system, that they were also going to do the same thing. In our eyes, we saw that as an affirmation that we're taking steps in the right direction. But yes, that largely is what you can use as, again, I call it our tech demo as of right now, because it's very much the idea of taking your username, using it natively on a social media platform. Again, this is currently working on Twitter, and we also have an integration working natively on Discord. And from there, you can view NFTs. You can take a look at what I own. I can select it and be brought directly towards the marketplace, which is being either sold or listed at. If it's not being sold, then I would just see it in a more refined view once I select it. And then additionally, my actual profile picture has a how do you say this in English? A QR code, and from there you can scan it and be brought right to my actual nametag.org custom profile. And that's actually probably what I would say is the really cool feature for, or I should say one of my favorite features, because once you go and visit, and I'm sorry, I'm typing it in just because I like to see my profile as I talk about it. But once you go and visit, you'll see that you can look at all of my NFTs across multiple wallets. So it's not just a hot wallet, or rather just one wallet, but I can also connect cold wallets. I can connect my Solana wallets, my NFTs here. I can have custom backgrounds. I have my social badges, which also appear natively on Twitter.com. So just from a glance, you could see that I'm part of the VFriends, the Vogu, the ZenFT, and the Dead Avatar community, for example, right? And then right on my profile as well, from the name tag side, I also have a list of all of my links to my social accounts. So, we envision kind of the influencer who's looking to get into the Web3 space, right? They are proactively using Linktree or Solo2 or any of those other solutions. But how do we bring those kind of components together? That's also another subset of features that NameTag is actively build, or I shouldn't say building out, but like that it works today. Those are tools that you can use today. If you mint your name for free, you immediately have access to all of those features. Now I know I talked a lot, so I'll go on pause for a sec.
Awesome. Yeah, Quez, I want to respond to what you said, and I obviously have some follow up questions for you. But just to sort of sum up what you were saying to people who are just listening, if you register a name tag, it essentially reads the contents of your wallet. So, for instance, I have a name tag, and I had at one point a Mutant Ape Yacht Club. It'll show next to my name tag a little Mutant Ape Yacht Club logo, so you can see at a glance that I was part of that collection. And then integrated directly into Twitter, you can drop down and see the NFTs that I decided to link with my name tag. So I don't have to show all of my NFTs, but if I wanted to showcase a portion of my NFTs, I could. So it's pretty cool, honestly. I got into this, like I said, 9 months ago when you guys first launched. But I wanted to talk to you because it has been a long time, and you were bringing up how when you guys launched, this was prior to Twitter Blue even being a thing. Are you worried at all in terms of second mover advantage from them? Because I know you guys were like directly reaching out to Twitter and trying to make this a common feature of Twitter, and they kind of took that, and now Twitter Blue exists. Do you think with that kind of advancement coming out, and maybe with other platforms like Reddit. I know the founder of Reddit is really into NFTs. Do you think that they're going to just be integrating directly into their brand to the point that you wouldn't need name tag, or do you think that name tag is going to be something that is transcendental because it is across all the different socials like you're saying?
Again, Ross, you're coming out with some real heavy hitting questions, and I love them. Yes, this is probably a concern from the view of anyone, right? It's like, well, to what ends is it actually useful if these individual entities are going to start building their own solution? And what's great, or I shouldn't say what's great, but what's well, no, yeah, what's great about this question is that it forces the conversation of, well, do I want to buy in to several individual centralized entities and have to maybe fight tooth and nail to potentially maybe get the username that I want? Or do I go the route that you mentioned, right? Have a second layer solution that transcends above all of those platforms in one easy way, one social profile that I could take across every single platform that I ever get integrated with. We think about just today as social media accounts, and you brought up Reddit. By the way, just a quick little alpha throw out. We are working on Twitch. Next Twitch integration is coming real soon. Very excited about that one. Shout out to all the gamers here in the crowd. But what about on Xbox? What about on PlayStation? What about all of those gaming achievements, my gamer score that I've worked very hard on acquiring and raising? Can I bring that in? I think about credentials and things like LinkedIn. I do come from a professional background. I do have a degree. I do have these certifications. Are these things also that I would like to integrate into name tags? I try to think about what is the one place that I can get as much of a comprehensive view of an individual, or at least whatever this individual is willing to share, and then how can I ensure that they are who they say that they are? That's the only that's just the only, but that is an issue that I see even today with name tag blue. A lot of individuals just copy the asset. They then mint that asset as whatever they'd like, and then they use Twitter blue as a means of verifying that that asset is theirs. And that way they get the hexagonal shape. And I don't know, that's a bit of a hole in the system. So but again, you bring up a wonderful question. Theoretically, yes, like each of these individual centralized places could do their own thing, or you could have a username that is brought up across all of them. We'd like to think that the solution that we're offering is very easy username infrastructure that folks could tap into via means of an API. Again, if you visit nametag.org, you see that we did just release an API for individuals to basically, I mean, right now you could request an API key in order to start leveraging it. But the idea is that people don't have to build username infrastructure anymore. They can simply make API calls, RESTful API calls, and then bring in all of the information from name tag users, the NFTs, if they have their Twitter connected or Discord connected, Twitch, that like again, all of the other links. I'm only speaking about what exists today, but I really do invite anyone who's listening to think about the art of what's possible and really the direction in which NameTag is walking. So did that answer your question, Ross?
Yeah, I definitely think you did. And I'm intrigued by what you're saying about Twitter Blue and people faking mints to get the hexagon shape. I didn't realize that that was something they were able to do. I thought it was only verified collections. I personally did not pay for the hexagon, but I see Jacob and Mitch are in the audience, and they're absolutely repping the hexagon with what I assume to be a real. I wouldn't be surprised if Jacob's were fake, to be honest, but I'll have to trust it for now. Um,
Damn, don't attack my mans like that. Come on.
I'm just kidding. Um, Tell me about this. I'm looking at the name tag site right now. You have some like pretty big people who have name tags already. I'm honestly surprised we haven't heard more about it over these 9 months since you guys have been developing. I see Banks is here. I see Andy Milanakis, Ja Rule, the Doge Pound. I see We're Gonna Make It has one. Oh Shiny. Some people that people love to hate. I see Cole Therium's in there. Dingling, who's a legend. I see he's got name tag. Like you guys have some pretty notable people in the Web3 space. Are there any plans to sort of leverage them as a way to build your platform even further?
Perhaps so. I'd like to think that we don't want to force anybody, right? Like I don't think that when you're building out a product, that bringing in influencers or notable folks, let's just call them, to try and further define the reputation or the validity of the product. Like I don't know if that actively, and again, this is just me personally responding to this. Like I don't want that to be the answer on behalf of name tag per se, but on Quez's thinking, I think the product is supposed to speak for itself. I think some of the most brilliant minds in the NFT space today don't even know what an NFT is. And that might be your younger cousin, that might be your neighbor from across the road. It when they discover this product, they might be the what do you call it, the flagship individual that raises the name tag flag. And it was something that it just because they believed in it, right? They thought that it was critical, important, or very valuable for them to be leveraging. So I think it's a great question, but do we look to kind of tap on someone's shoulder and ask them to rep us, so to speak? I don't think so. I think if they genuinely believe that the product is good, they'll use it. And well, I mean, you can go on Twitter.com and see just how many of those folks are using name tag. And I think that's as good of a testament as one could have.
No, absolutely, man. I totally agree with you, and I have big respect for that answer. Absolutely. I feel like this is a great time to say as well that if you are an MVHQ token holder, you're going to be able to claim a name tag over the weekend. I hear that we have some more instructions coming in the future, but we're going to be able to get a name tag directly. Quez, do you want to use this as an opportunity to sort of talk about maybe if there's different tiers to the name tag? I know that the first 5,000, I believe, were Genesis. But we got a bit of a community over at MVHQ. What kind of generation of name tags are they going to be getting, and is there any notable difference between the types of name tags?
Yes. So let's do a quick little story. I know I've been talking a lot, but I'm going to give you the story time. So all those months ago, name tag released, and we call it now our Genesis collection, but at that time, there was only ever going to be 10,000 name tags available to mint. And we got halfway through and we're thinking, if we want this to be the naming standard of the internet, how the hell are we going to get everybody to use it if we only got 10K? So halfway through, we realized like this is not the ideal strategy, and we effectively closed the collection. But because there were still 5,000 in existence, we said, well, you know, we got to figure out in what ways we can make this collection unique, because those are a lot of our early adopters. Those are a lot of the individuals that first discovered name tag and said, hey, I'm going to rep the name tag flag all the way through. And to those individuals, we are ridiculously grateful and very thankful for their continued support. Since then, we then opened up name tag, what we just call name tag general. And to clear up some thoughts here, they are both functionally the same. They will both give you the same access to the same features. Right? You'll be able to use your profiles. You got the social badges, all of the integrations, and a lot more of the excellent customization features that are coming out specifically around community management, specifically for project founders. I think the next set of features is going to be highly, highly favored in terms of trying to understand your community, and name tag being the basis that enables that. But again, I digress. I'm not going to go super crazy into details. I'm going to
Oh,
bore you
go
guys.
into crazy details, but please, you got us on the edge of our seats here because we love advancement in the community and like we love features that are different. Is that something that you're willing to talk about at this point? I would love to go deeper on that if you're willing to, but no worries if that's too much alpha for a Twitter Spaces today.
Might be a bit too much alpha for today, but I do want you to know that we have been taking a heavy look at tools, like tools that can help people. I think that's like a lot of people give kind of complaints, I guess, about like, oh, we need something with utility, we need utility, and that often gets misaligned, and people think, oh, it's staking or it's yield farming or it's the tokenomics, and I don't think that that's me personally. I don't think that that's what utility actually means. I think it's largely about, hey, can an individual do something with this NFT that perhaps before they were not able to do, or can we grant them some sort of tools to make their life easier? Because as of right now, the world of the NFT is largely scrambled across a lot of Web 2 and Web 3 places. How we bringing that together? And again, that's kind of where Nametag is looking to fill that void. So that's where I'll leave it for now. But I do think communities will be quite fond of the tools that are coming out as a result of Nametag, and also the individuals that own those name tags that can then participate alongside the leveraging of those tools. That'll also be a lot of fun. To finish my previous point though, because I know we kind of went on a tangent there. Your initial question was the differences between Genesis and General, and just to wrap that up, all it all it is really is, because of that kind of slip up, I guess, that oversight that we had initially, we didn't want to just completely dismiss it and say, all right, you guys are all screwed. We're only going to do this brand new collection. Peace out. So what we do is with the Genesis collection, everything that we build, we're actively thinking about how we can use it to the benefit of Genesis holders. And that might be through ways of access to early features. That might be through ways of private, I guess you could say, like kind of closed off quarters. So, like, for example, even in our Discord, we only have a Genesis holder only chat room. And sometimes in there, we be dropping a little bit of alpha here and there. We do like specific giveaways for them. Airdrops, we get them involved in other communities. So whenever there's a particular, how do you want to say it? Like, say there's an emerging collection coming out and Nametag has some sort of access to that collection, the first 5,000 people that we put up there is specifically for the Genesis holders. Another thing that we do that I think is the most heavily anticipated thing about Nametag is the Nametag Token. I think one of the most beautiful things that we've seen in this space is the idea of voting and governance. This is a service and protocol that we want to be in the hands of the individuals that leverage Nametag the most. And as of right now, given that Genesis holders have been around for the longest time, or rather the Genesis tags have been around for the longest time, they are set to be the highest earners, so to speak, or recipients of a name tag token. And that token is going to have a world of functionalities. But again, I try to be very careful when discussing these things because, again, it's not that it's a problem in the NFT world, but a lot of this game is speculation for folks. And as I've hopefully have illustrated already, we're not really here for speculation. We're here because we want to build something that you can use, that is impactful to you, that makes your life a little easier, or at the very least, like, it's just cool as fuck, like certified, like you say you're this person, all right. My long-term vision for name tag is I want to be able to be scrolling around on whatever social media it is that we're using at that time in the future and see, okay, like, oh, this person doesn't have a name tag. I don't know if I could, really be fucking with that. So it's like a certification, You are who you say you are. All right. You have to have a name tag. So
Yeah. No, I definitely know where you're coming from, and I know I came in from the sneakerhead community as like my OG hustle when I was in middle school and too young to work, and that's like catching someone wearing fake Yeezys out in public, right? It's just like a bad look, like, oh geez, like you went through all these hoops and all this trouble to pretend to have something that isn't real. Maybe it's a comment on consumerism. Definitely not going to go down that rabbit hole here, but I know what you're saying. I mean, you certainly do see people on Twitter who are repping a Bored Ape or repping a Azuki, and they're just fake. Like it's an inevitable part of the space. So I do really like that idea of you could be playing, Call of Duty, and you'll see, oh wow, this person that I'm playing against has a verified whatever in their collection. They have an authentic X copy or Bored Ape, and just to be able to showcase that, because I feel like, I mean, it's so apparent that if you're in this community, it becomes such a big part of your life. So to be able to put that on your web too and say, look, like this is really me, like I actually have this, I am part of the NFT community, and to show that to anyone at a glance, there's definitely value in that. I mean, I think that's sort of the whole concept of Web3 is just the built-in integrity and you wanting to make sure that the assets that you're holding are authenticated. So it's very cool. I do want to do a couple of things here, though, Quez, because we love to, in MVHQ, include our audience, vet for questions, and just have anyone who has a burning question to feel free to ask that, because, we're at Twitter here and Twitter Spaces. We're really just trying to have conversations with creators, and you'll have to forgive me. I am like pacing around a lot in my apartment and hearing Marty Windon. I'm just fired up from this conversation. Are there any listeners in the audience who want to come up and ask a burning question for Quez about Nametag, about the space, talk about Web3? Feel free to react or just request the mic. I see that we have AB here, so I'll let him up in just a second. But if you do have any questions for Quez, please just request the mic and we'll make sure to get you up here soon. And with that, I am adding AB here as a speaker. AB, welcome.
As as AB is getting connected, I do want to say I invite anyone to ask any question. I'm a firm believer that there's no such thing as a stupid question. So if you got something that you want to ask, please by all means come up and say what's up.
All right, we got. Oh man, I really got to stop pacing here. AB, come on up, man. You're a speaker here. Feel free to unmute yourself and ask away. All right, no worries. We got Clus as well with us. It looks like Clus1986.eth, repping an ENS. Will you be repping a name tag after today's spaces? What's up, man?
I already have a name tag, so that answers that question. But yeah, I just really wanted to shout out the team at Nametag for doing such a really great job, and now even talking about adding the whole idea of credentials. And I think that's going to be a huge aspect in Web3 moving forward when you have professionals in Web2 trying to make that transition and trying to really see how those credentials like transfer over into the Web3 space. It's always good to be able to like show that you do have some experience in another type of field that will transition well. And I think name tags a great avenue to kind of represent that.
Plus, man, I appreciate that feedback. Thank you so much for being part of the family. It's always highly appreciated. So mad love over to you. But a whole nother dynamic that I'll kind of also introduce here is maybe not strictly just the Web2 professionals that are looking to come over, but what about individuals that say, hey, yeah, I've worked on a few projects. I got some Solidity development experience. Prove it. How? Right? Like that's a whole nother area that we're also looking to explore. And again, my friends, I will say we've been out for 9 months, and I feel like we're just now kind of really starting to spread our wings. And not everything comes through overnight, but for a lot of the folks out there that are maybe even interested in helping us build, we are always open for any individuals that want to come along for the ride. So I will also say we don't intend to do everything perfectly, but we do intend to give everything our best shot.
Awesome.
That's really great that you mentioned like creating even like almost like a portfolio type deal for people to showcase off their work. I think that's really important, especially in Web3, since it's so focused on the individual retaining kind of like their ownership of their creation. So I just think that goes to the whole topic of like decentralization. So like right on.
I didn't mean to laugh. I'm sorry. I meant to clap twice. But yo, Klus, I appreciate you, dog. For real.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, Quez. First of all, I know earlier you said we don't want to throw any shade to other socials. The replacement for Jack Dorsey at Twitter, we need more reacts. I say this every Twitter Spaces. Poop can vouch for it. Give me back the 100. Like, there's times, Quez, when I want to just agree with you on a platonic level. I don't mind throwing the love around, but I just don't want anyone to take it the wrong way. But yeah, we definitely need more Twitter Reacts. So maybe that could be an added utility to name tag in the future, is getting some API called Reacts into Twitter Spaces. That would be huge. I do have another speaker in the audience here, JAOCB, who I'll bring in a second. But I just wanted to ask you, because I'm thinking while we're talking, you mentioned having a DAO and having name tag holders be an active part of sort of shaping the future of name tag. In terms of forming a DAO, is that something that you actively have plans for, in terms of you're going to really let them steer where this project is going? Or do you sort of have an idea of where the utility is going to be headed, right? And I know that you guys are a slower building team. You've been working for 9 months, so I know you're constantly going to be building and developing new tools. But like, is that something that you decide as a developer, hey, this is the next logical step for where we're at? Or are you really going to be opening up this whole thing to token holders and saying, hey, look, like wherever you guys want to steer it, we're going to fully adjust the course of this project for that?
Such a great question, Ross. Just real quick, man. I want to give you a shout out. You have been a brilliant question asker, like an interviewer probably is a better term. I
Oh,
really
thank you.
appreciate you, man. That this has been such an enjoyable conversation. To answer your question, I think uh, is it in the plans? Yes. Will it come immediately? No. Why? I think we need to scale a lot more. I think we need to continue building. I think we need a lot more users that are part of the name tag ecosystem. I think we need a lot more use cases in which people find value of leveraging a name tag. Because again, like one of the things that I'm trying to steer very far away from is the idea of strictly speculation, strictly like don't get me wrong, right? Like these folks are going to mint names that they think are might be worthwhile in the future, and we've seen that. We just saw Gucci come into the Web3 space and purchase their ENS recently. So like I think folks are certainly not they're not wrong to be speculative, but above all of that, which even as a founder myself, I try not to, you know, I know that it's going to happen, but it's just not what's important. What's important is can people use this? And I think we need to build out a lot more before we can really put it in the hands of the community and get individuals to say, okay, this is what I would like to see next. My theory is that if we should be able to have built out 25 different incredible use cases for the community to leverage. And then at that point say, all right, this is yours now. What do you guys want to do next? And that's when I think the right time to fully accept a DAO model would actually be effective. Because one can make the argument that if we go the route of a DAO right now, we might start building for things that people speculate over as opposed to things that people would use. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, man. And I do really appreciate that. Like, it really takes a lot of integrity for a creator of a project to come out and say, hey, the NFT space is very speculative and we're not really trying to be a part of that. So, again, I really do appreciate that. And I appreciate the compliment earlier. This really is intended to be an interview, and I hope for the people listening, you can really see that Quez is opening up and allowing us to ask pretty much everything. Again, if you want to come up here and ask a question, it seems like he's really receptive, even for the hardball stumpers. But I just, again, want to commend you for that, because, I've talked to a lot of projects, and you certainly speak to some creators in the space who just have the script, right? It's like, here's our brand. We're going to be building a Web3 fully immersive play to earn game, and it's going to be crazy. And where you have brand partnerships, like, it's just speculation bingo. So to hear that you guys are just trying to slowly build, and that you're going to see where name tag takes you, where the space is taking you, that's definitely something that I personally look for in a community. So, just to really appreciate having this conversation, and going into the nuance here. I know we have, it looks like Jacob, the person who requested, is no longer there. Does anyone else in the audience want to come up? We still got AB here. If you're on the line, feel free to chime in and ask a question. In the meantime, Quez, I know earlier we talked about maybe giving away a name tag. Would you still be open to that?
I would love to. I would absolutely love to. Here's the thing, though. I'm gonna put it back, ball back in your court. However it is that you'd like to go about it. Whatever you think that the folks here that are listening with us. Which, by the way, thank you for everyone who's been here hanging out, listening to Ross ask me a bunch of very hardball questions. Which, again, I love. I think these are the hard conversations that we should be having. That's how we move forward. Um, right? That's how the whole space, in my opinion, moves forward. But yeah, man, if you want to, think of some little strategy here that you think would be most effective, that would invite most people to get involved, I'm all up for it. I know we talked about one or two, but shit, dog, I'll be giving away 5 if you want, whatever it takes.
Quez, you're the man, dude. And yeah, absolutely. I want to quickly plug MVHQ just because we are asking tough questions, and this conversation was brought together by MVHQ and Quez. Like, I had to hop on it as soon as I saw name tag on the calendar. I said to Poop, I was like, "Oh, let me do this interview. I've been in name tag for forever." And just to find out that it's still you working behind the scenes, dude, that's like so serendipitous. So I absolutely love it. But a huge shout out to Mitch. When I first, got the opportunity to start doing these Twitter spaces, he told me, ask the hard questions. We're not here to hype or fluff. Like, we are only trying to, find good projects for MVHQ. And that's what we try to do as a community is we're always researching and going that extra level of detail that maybe some other people or communities don't do. So we really do appreciate it. And just big shout out to the whole MVHQ team for always having their alpha hats on. We absolutely love it. But yeah, for people who are listening, if you have not gotten a name tag, I would love for you guys to have an opportunity to get one and to try it out. So that's hugely appreciated, Quez, that you're willing to give some out. What I'd like to ask the audience to do is if you can share this Twitter Spaces, and I think you'll be able to do this just like right on your phone there, might be a little bit different. But if you share your Twitter Space, maybe check out name tags websites. Tell us like what is your ideal name tag, and I guess to really inspire people and give them full creative freedom, just tell us what your ideal name tag would be. It doesn't matter if it's taken or not. I'm going to be going through right now as we maybe bring up some more audience members or just hear more about your background, Quez. I'll go through what people are responding to, and any name tags that I think are funny or interesting or cool, or if you have a backstory behind why you would love that name tag, certainly going to be selecting those people. So this is a really good opportunity for some listeners who are trying to get in early on potentially a universal name tag solution in the future. Who knows? But yeah, retweet the spaces, guys, and send us some cool name tag ideas.
One of the questions that I thought for sure some that you might have asked was going to be like, who is the team? I think that's often on the minds of a lot of people. I'd actually like to ask you, based on your observations of the individual or teams that you've interviewed before, do you often have a struggle with like certain individuals that maybe are pseudonymous or just entirely anonymous? What is your take on an individual who is or is not doxxed, and does that take away from the credibility of a project?
That's a great question, Quez. It really depends on the time scale. I will be honest, I think it does take away from the trust to an extent. And I've definitely interviewed some projects where the founders don't want to dox themselves. I will say I respect it because if you had a project that was extremely successful and you made a ton of money, maybe you don't really want to have people know who you are, especially in a day of information where people can, find out stuff about you pretty readily. But if you're at that point where you haven't really had a long history of success, I feel like that's when it becomes a little bit more difficult, right? Like we just saw the Frosties team going to jail, which is absolutely crazy in terms of NFT news. And I mean, that's pretty monumental for the space if you think about it. It sets a big precedent for people not to be pulling rugs, but also showing the real life ramifications of the wild west of NFT world here. But yeah, if you're a project that's been around for a while, if you've shown people with your innovations that you are a constructive force for the community, I think you can overlook the privacy aspect. People that come to mind are Mouse Dev. I don't think he's doxxed. Like, feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but the developers of Anonymice, like, they've just gone above and beyond in terms of free project and just created utility for holders out of thin air and show that they're always willing to build. And also 999, he I don't think he's doxxed either. Again, feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but the fact that he airdropped SOS to so many people, started a whole community, like, at this point, I would be willing to trust 999 based on his track records of development. But absolutely, like, it's totally fair to scrutinize people who aren't doxing themselves and ask, what's going on here? Is there a reason that they're trying to put up that additional wall?
That's a very thoughtful answer, and yeah, wholeheartedly agreed. I think, like, at least in respect to name tag, some of, like, I guess the core team was not initially looking to put themselves out immediately, but we should see here in the very short future that we'll be taking a more, what was the a more transparent approach, right, and being able to kind of show ourselves off to the world. So I've been I've been one of the very few people, I think, in the entire NFT space that, like, I've never rocked a profile picture, or rather, like, an NFT as a profile picture. I've always shown my face, but that's also because I want folks to know, like, who I am. I want folks to know that, like, I'm willing to put my reputation on the line. Especially coming from, again, that professional Web2 world, and kind of saying, like, yo, like, whatever I say, like, I stand behind it, and you can find me. So, but again, I recognize that my teammates here have, they, like, as you put it so eloquently, there are individuals that they have their privacy, they have their reasons, and here we are now getting ready to kind of take that step forward. So, very very well stated.
Thanks, Quez. Definitely appreciate it. And I see that we got Johnny Solana on the line, who is an MVHQ member, as long as this is not an elaborate deep fake account. And maybe, again, that's somewhere where name tag can come in just to make sure we got the right Johnny here. But Johnny, happy Saturday. Happy to have you. And yeah, you got any questions for name tag?
Yeah, I do. Actually, first of all, I wanted to say, guys, great work you guys are doing. I'm a Genesis holder myself. I got in fairly early, when as soon as I saw it, I said, this looks like a great idea. Obviously, I haven't been playing with it a whole lot, but really love the ideas and some of the things that you guys have been saying here today. My question is how are you guys going to, distinguish yourself between, like, ENS, or I shouldn't say distinguish yourself, because you guys kind of already are that vision, but is there any concern that you and the team has, and how would you go about alleviating those concerns to say, hey, ENS has got this now massive, user base, and do you guys have any concerns that they could implement some of your ideas and visions into their solution? I don't know if that's something you could address or have thought about, and how you can kind of stay ahead of the game when it comes to things they're doing versus things you're doing. Really appreciate it, guys.
Sure, man. Again, great question. So I think I will answer your question by challenging your viewpoint strictly in this one way. A lot of the discussion that happens around ENS versus name tag is often that it's like this one or the other. In fact, more specifically, it's like they are competing. And what I challenge pretty much anyone here listening today, what I challenge you to consider is not the conversation of or, but rather the conversation of and. We are in a unique situation in Web3 where, for the very first time, it's not like in Web2 where the first person that hits the market is the winner. The first person that builds the best product is the winner. Web3 is not so much about competition as much as it is about collaboration. And I think that's where the real winners come through. The individuals that are going to build the best tools ever are using the tools that exist today to build those best tools. And how does that happen? By way of collaboration, way more so than competition. So hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks for asking, man.
Awesome. I also did want to do a quick shout out. So, someone in the audience by the name of Unseen, and their Twitter is just Unseen. They were the first person to respond, and the only person, frankly, to respond to our name tag contest. They said it'd be too good to be true to use Unseen everywhere. So, Unseen, please shoot me your Discord name and your wallet address, and I'll make sure to forward that over to the name tag team so we can get you a new name tag whenever that launch begins. And again, for people who are just tuning in and listening, we are giving away 4 more name tags here. All you have to do is share this Twitter Spaces and comment what would be your dream name tag. So, in a world where you could have one name across all social media platforms, what name are you picking? Maybe just to spark some inspiration, I have 4 name tags that I actually own from way back in the day. I have Olympics, I have Kith, I have Bacon, and I have Acid. Had to save the best for last there. But yeah, I mean, I definitely saw these, not to be a hypocrite because we talked so much about speculation earlier, but obviously there is some speculative play to be named in terms of holding on to these, domains that might be across all platforms in the future. And like, I know people with ENS got on that and got NBA.ENS and, NFL, all of those names. And I remember when name tag first came out, a lot of conversation in the resale calendar group was just talking about like what would be the best possible name tag to have. So just trying to kick out some inspiration to the audience. Please, if you're like looking for a cool, fun name tag, it's you have a great opportunity right here. I'll say that. Just feel free to tweet out the spaces, and would love to hear from you guys.
Kith is really good. I like Acid a lot. Acid is badass.
Dude, thank you. Yeah, I'm definitely not as big into it these days, but like 9 months ago when the space started, I was going through a bit of a quarter life crisis, so had to do it to him.
I did it for the 3rd time ever. Again, this is Quez, not name tag talking here, but I did it for the 3rd time ever for my 25th in Puerto Rico. And man, what an experience.
Dude, no kidding. I did it in Costa Rica, but I was like 22, and it was just insane at the time. Like, you really showed a lot of perspective.
Do you speak Spanish?
No, only a little bit. I would say un poco and un otra vida. I tell you just a little in another life here, but no longer in this current life. My Duolingo is way out of practice, and it's been a while since high school at this point.
Man said Duolingo. No.
You got me there.
Hey, well, I mean, I welcome as many individuals to challenge themselves to learn more languages. I think it's a superpower that is not tapped into enough. So I'm fluent on English, Spanish, currently picking up Portuguese, speak a little bit of Korean, and yeah, we'll see how well that serves me here in a little bit.
Oh, really? You're learning Korean? What made you pick Korean of all languages?
Well, I studied Taekwondo when I was younger, and studied it for about 5.5 years. And one of the things that my school did was, I shouldn't say force us, but we spoke Korean in the school. And again, I'm not going to try and sell myself as though I am a very very fluent speaker, but I could probably get around for a little, just at least to figure out where the nearest bathroom is, and also to figure out where I can get a cold beer. So
Yeah, that's kind of the big two in any language: beer and bathroom. All right, well, let's see. Do we have any other audience members with a burning question for Quez? Quez, do you have any questions about NVHQ or any topics in the Web3 space you want to talk about? It's great to talk to an NFT OG here, and just an absolute pleasure talking about all things in this space. So, yeah, anything on your mind?
yes, actually, because I've been an MVHQ holder for a while, so I remember when you guys first launched that one of the most interesting models that had been proposed was, if you had purchased, and correct me if I'm wrong, but if you had purchased 5 tags initially and then you held it for the entirety of the year, that you would get some sort of like lifetime membership as a result or something of that sort. How is that? Is that still in effect? Okay, I'm sorry. Number one, am I wrong? Number two, if I'm not wrong, is it still in effect? And then number three, how do you view that existing today and moving forward? Because it's very different than what a lot of other folks do.
That's an awesome question. And I just invited Mitch and Jake up just to talk about the utility aspect of holding 5 of them in terms of the lifetime, because I Personally, don't know the answer to that, but I can tell you with certainty that if you hold 5 MVHQ tokens, you are in a whale pool, which is separate from the standard single token holder pool. And it definitely does have value for people who hold it. Oh, I see Poop is on the line here. Yeah, feel free to chime in, Poop. I feel like you're definitely more qualified to speak about this.
Oh, you're good, Ross. Appreciate it. It's a good question. So 5 tokens does qualify members for our whale roll, like Ross mentioned, which gives access to a private whale chat, lifetime access if they hold all 5 tokens through the end of 2022. And more recently, we've implemented a virtual assistant program into the whale structure as well to kind of help them with their day-to-day NFT needs. And then I think the biggest value add, or one of the biggest value adds that we've implemented recently, is 10% of all of our allow list allocations go into a separate whale pool as well. So they're getting great odds on their allow list entries for allow list spots to help them kind of get value back into their investment of being a whale. So moving forward, beyond 2022, I'm unsure. I actually don't think we'll probably run that program again, just because of the lifetime nature of it. But I think that's still a little bit up for debate. But at least for this initial Genesis run, the whales will be well taken care of.
A true OG feature. I appreciate the insight. If I could
Of
just
course.
add one follow-up question, I'm very curious. What has been a challenge for you guys in terms of whether that be on the community management side, whether that be in terms of growth, scale? I'm very curious what you would say is the hardest thing to deal with on the project side for MVHQ.
I think with any community, right? It's the delicate balance of all the different personalities and backgrounds and experiences everyone kind of tries to share with each other, and managing that flow of information and keeping everyone kind of pulling the rope in the same direction and on the same page and keeping the vibes up, and kind of just making sure everyone is thinking community first rather than me first, which can be a delicate line sometimes, especially when you're dealing with a large community. But it's a worthy struggle sometimes, especially when if it's a community you care about, and you want to see everyone succeed together and win together. It's a nurturing environment, and it's one we kind of take pride in.
My last question: do you feel that you have, and this is like from founder to founder, I guess, but or whatever, owner to whatever you want to call it. Do you feel like
Admin to admin.
admin to admin?
There we go.
You feel me? So, do you feel like you have a responsibility to care about your project's floor, or is that like an entire afterthought to you?
I'm sorry, did you say our project's lore?
Yeah, like as in, do you think like maybe we can make it even more general? Do you think any admin has a responsibility to like really be concerned with the floor of a project, or is that a complete afterthought? Like, should it be an afterthought? Yes, no, whatever.
You talking about like any project in general, or is specific to MVHQ?
I mean, I'm asking in relation to your experience as an admin of NVHQ, but like I suppose the answer could be thought of in the grand scale of the NFT space.
Yeah, I mean, as an alpha community, I guess there isn't a lot of lore to be told. I would say that, you know, when you try to form a community bond, right, you always want to kind of keep the positive nature of every conversation. And if things don't go the way as planned, as most times, sometimes that does happen in this space, as we know. Um, making sure that we can have an educational take on that as well, right? A way for everyone to learn, even through the losses, and so we can celebrate our wins together as well. So from a lore standpoint, or kind of the background of our community, that's kind of the foundation of it, and kind of what we try to thrive off of day to day. Just with the community bonds, and it is a very tight knit, close community, with a lot of people supporting each other, helping each other, really with no incentive to do so outside of the goodness of their own heart, to be honest, because they're part of the community and they care about it. So from a lore standpoint, that probably ties into it now. In terms of lore in other projects, I think lore always, right, provides a backdrop, a story, for for people to latch onto, to resonate with, and to kind of ask within themselves if it's something that they want to be a part of. So lore, I think, is always important, because I think it resonates with everyone a little bit differently. I hope that answered your question.
It certainly does, and I appreciate you being willing to answer it, because I know it's maybe not always the easiest of questions to answer, but again, always been big fans of what you guys are doing over at MDHQ, and again, super excited to have jumped on this space with you guys. I know we are, we're still kind of waiting on some more questions. I will say, I do have a date to get ready for, so I'm trying to pivot around,
Nice, Quez. What are you wearing tonight?
Man, that's a great question. Probably jeans, a nice little Miami Heat shirt. Nothing crazy, because it's casual. I call it a date, but it's casual.
How'd you meet the lucky person?
Maybe nothing by the end of it. Who knows? I'll just throw that one out there.
Maybe nothing by the end of it. I just got what you meant there. Nice. Very nice.
Do you tell people on dates about NFTs?
This person knows a lot. We've known each other for a long time. She knows I'm all about the space. But if I were to go on a date with a brand new person, I don't think I would tell them about it, because I just don't know that that's like first date conversation worth having. I'm probably more curious on like what they're thinking about, what their, I guess interests are, trying to discover more about the person. I don't know. That's just me personally. I'm not no dating alpha. I've been single for like the last 5 years, so probably not the guy to be asking about all that.
Nah, man. We definitely appreciate it. I just want to ask you a ton of questions about your personal life now, Quez. I feel like everyone wants to know about this date coming up. I'm excited for you. I'm just picturing here a pretty snazzy night out on the town, but I guarantee you, if I keep going, I'm going to get comments like, Ross, reel it back to name tags. So I'll be aware of the situation. Big shout out to Trojan in the audience. The second person to respond, shoot me with a DM, please, sir. Your Discord and your wallet address will make sure you get a name tag. People listening right now, it's the easiest opportunity you could possibly have to get a name tag. Just share this spaces. Tweet at us what your ideal universal name tag would be, and we'll hook it up with the name tag. We got 3 left. What do you have to lose? Nothing. And Quez, what do you have to lose tonight on the date? Nothing, man. Have a good time. Have a blast. You guys are going to be just loving it. It's a great Saturday, so I hope you have a great one as well.
I appreciate the love, fam. And again, I appreciate you hosting us and being so willing, to kind of put yourselves out as a hard question asker. It's an important skill set to have. And, anyone else who is curious about how to effectively host a space, how to effectively interview someone, take notes from my friend here, because he did a damn good job, I think.
Dude, thank you. I really got to stop pacing around, though. It's like my nervous habit. Maybe not even nervous, but I'm just like, I think more when I move. I think there's been studies about that or something. But yeah, I just get winded sometimes because I'm talking and you ask me an excited question. I'm like, Quez, like, tell me about your date fit. I got to know.
See, I do the same thing, though. Like, I pace around the house. But like, to your point, when I start to realize that I'm like sweating for absolutely no reason because I'm just having a conversation, I'm like, all right, maybe I should just sit down, grab my water, and just vibe out. It's all right. So working on that one. Right, but I feel your pain.
I appreciate it. Do you have a fragrance of choice that you're wearing out? I know that I personally rock with the Chanel Blue. I'm not afraid to say it. This is not a paid plug.
Not a paid plug. Big fan of Yves Saint Laurent.
Oh, yeah. I got a Yves, man. Quez. My goodness.
I'm all about the class, man. I'm all about the class.
Dude, I just imagine tonight on the date, if things are going well, you just whisper to her and be like, hey, you can have whatever name you want across all social media platforms.
I'll be like, oh, yeah, mommy, let me tell you about these name tags, girl. Like, nah, come on now.
I say you just take that date live on a Twitter Spaces and call it a wrap.
Everyone, please come in and learn about how to really fuck up a date. Live. Hosted by Quez. What's up?
Listen, babe, if this is real, then I want you to put our relationship directly on name tags so I can verify the ownership.
Yo. Yo. Could you imagine? I don't know if anyone here has ever used, I mean, I'm sure most people have at one point in their life, Facebook relationships. Back in high school, that was the thing. So, name tag relationships.
Oh, yeah. Relationship tattoos are so Web 2, right? You got to go to Web 3 with relationship tattoos on a name tag.
I love that we're discussing the important details here, my friends. Amazing.
All right, a big shout out to Johnny Solana. He had the most creative name tag so far. His is Kiss Me, I'm in the Metaverse, which I love that. Johnny, please shoot me a DM with your Discord name and your wallet address, and we'll make sure that you get a name tag. Quez, am I remembering this wrong? You used to be like pretty big into hip hop and like rapped and stuff when we were in RC. Is that right?
Still am a huge hip hop advocate. Really,
Dude.
music, just all of music, even. So,
Oh man, Quez, are you trying to cipher right now? I've gotten in the habit with some of these Twitter spaces that I host with people who are musically inclined to just do a little acapella cipher towards the end of these Twitter spaces. I still, again, if you're in the audience, feel free to share the spaces, shout out me and name tag, and give us your ideal name tag for the future. We'll make sure you get a name tag. There's 2 spots left, but yeah, Quez, if you have any desire to just do a little acapella cipher for funsies before this date to maybe pump you up a little bit, get a little Marshall Mathers confidence flowing there, I'm open to it.
I'm about it. Why not?
Yo, let's go.
I'm actually gonna. Here's what I'll actually do though, just to make this a bit easier, because I can't quite do acapella, to be honest with you. I like to be able to hear a beat and kind of go from there. Is that okay? Do you mind if I do that?
Oh, dude, of course, go for it. Do you have a way to bring in the beat? If there's like a way to directly import it to Twitter, we need that and more reacts. Those are my 2 big asks.
2 big requests here.
Yeah.
Nice. I think what I'm gonna do is just play the music source directly in front of my microphone to simultaneously catch me and the audio. I mean, that's in my eyes, I think that's as best as I could do right now.
Ooh, Alpha Labs. All right, go for it, man. I love it. This is a really good experiment, actually, for these.
All right, give me one sec.
While you're pulling that up, I want to give a shout out to Tito Georgian. If I'm pronouncing that right, he wants Georgian as his name tag. So yeah, send me a DM with your Discord name and your wallet address, Georgian. We will get you a name tag. I am waiting for Quez, obediently following like Games of Simon says. Quezzy's got a date. I hope it doesn't go to heads. Maybe then he'll have to leave the place and leave it all a mess, but I got no doubt that my man will bring it down because he runs this account and it's called Name Tag. Co-host with the mostest, do it a cappella, but Quezzy gets the beat because he's such a chill fella. I'm chilling Jacob Myers and I'm lyrically inspired. I hope you're in the building. Got the staircase, that's a spiral. We're chilling here with Mitch. He's the best of the listeners. Yo, we about to toss it to Quez. This one, the finisher. Ugh.
You're nasty with it though, low key. I see you. Did you hear this?
Sort of.
Faintly. Is that better? No.
It's like choppy. It might work though. Yeah, go for it. If not, I'll stop you and just try to like maybe have the beat in your ear and we'll just hear the lyrics.
Okay. Again, I just appreciate you being flexible with me. All right. Hey. Yeah. I must warn all of those that adore the boy. I'm just trying to get it, no destroy. Not playing around, there ain't no toys. Just tasting my dreams is what it seems as I glow up. Now watch me blow up. I'm just trying to keep it real steady. Now watch the pace. Motherfuckers like me don't win no race because it's a marathon. Shout out to Nip. My girl tried to see me, she got a nip. It just slipped. Now take a sip and relax before I go ahead and hit this flight. Drink a little something to get me right. I must address, but no, I never feeling no press. But you take off a dress, I just go ahead and do it slowly. I'm not frozen, I'm just trying to get it. I've a roving. I meant to say arrive, but really I just stride. Hey, you better watch the boy drive. I'm here for survival. Mark my arrival. Now watch me do my own thing. Hey, I'm winning like it's rings. Now reconsider before I get it back. I'm still on the attack. No defensive. I'm just trying to get it. I'm so offensive. But always try to keep it polite. I'm nice like that. I go ahead and get it right back. I'm trying to get the reply. No, really, I stay high, smoke a little something. Not really, I'm just bumping. I got the needs and the greed. No way I take it back. Ain't no greed. I just take my greens and roll up. Smoke my weed. Now take a knee. Now wait, go ahead and push it back. I know you hear the sound though. Trying to get it. No pounds though. Now you around though. Hey. All right, that's my flow there. Yeah.
Yo, let's go, Quez. I love it, dude. I love it. I really appreciate a good freestyle. So, loved having a chance to cipher with you. All right. At this point, I am also happy to announce we got all of our winner spots filled. Dinoverse just reached out to me. He told me that he wanted the name Heka, the Egyptian god of magic and medicine. Heka, or Dinoverse, if you're listening, do me a favor, shoot me your Discord name. You just sent me your wallet address. And to anyone else who's won a name tag in this Twitter Spaces, please make sure that you sent me both your Discord name and your wallet address so I can submit those accordingly. Quez, it's been an absolute pleasure, man. Really appreciate the cipher. Really appreciate you letting us pick your brain. I know you got a big date to get ready for, so I want to be mindful of that. Feel free. You want to wrap it up here? Just give you the mic once more time to do a quick plug for Name Tag. Any exciting events coming up, or anything you want to tell the community before we end this one?
Yes. First and foremost, thank you for hosting what I think is the most interesting space I've been a part of so far. I've not ever been asked to cipher, but I will never turn down the opportunity to do so. So thank you for maintaining creativity. Thank you for bringing some really great questions. And most importantly, for keeping it real, man. That's the hardest thing to find nowadays, and it's highly, highly appreciated. As for Name Tag, my friends, we do have the very first ever Name Tag Space Jam being hosted tomorrow. It's basically like a talent show where simply for participating in the talent show, this could be a wide range of anything. You want to share your artwork, share your music, you want to, do whatever. The list goes on. Just for participating, we will be taking note of everyone who comes up and maybe even doing a few free name tag giveaways. Genesis 2, who knows? You're going to have to pull up and find out. As for upcoming features, again, mentioned earlier on the space, all about community-driven tools. I think a lot of individuals are going to be very happy about that. And once that's released, it's going to be some magic. Next main integration will be on Twitch. So for all of you gamers out there that are looking to bring Web3 and all of its amazing shiny assets to the place that happens to vilify NFTs for whatever reason, because I know mad people talk a lot of negative stuff about NFTs in the Twitch domain, well, you'll be able to bring it to their forehead and show them what it is. So that's coming also very soon. The last thing that I'll wrap up with, this is just something I always like to close with, is a challenge. And I propose these 3 key skills, these 3 key components to what I think makes a successful individual. And again, this is Quez speaking, Quez, here on the Name Tag account. My 3 challenges to everyone here listening is the following. Number 1, in everything that you do, please be curious. Wonder why it is that things are the way that they are. Ask really hard questions. Seek for where there's opportunities to improve things. Only by way of curiosity can we bring about new ideas, things that perhaps have not been considered before. There is no such thing as a stupid question. So always, always ask questions. Number 2, be consistent. It's on you to show up. And if for nobody else, at least for yourself. So whether that has to do in the domain of hitting the gym on Tuesday night, or being able to cook your own dinner on Thursday, or hell, you want to get a margarita because you want a little self-love, please be consistent, show up at the very least for yourself. That's what's important. Number 3, act with conviction. This life is very short. It's literally at any moment it could be gone. And that's why I think that it's critical for you to do the things that you find important, the things that you think are valuable. All that you do, no matter what it is, be sure that you are doing it with a massive amount of conviction. That's what lives on. Again, thank you so very much for having me up on Space. This has been an absolute joy. I got a little bit of a shower to take and a ride to make. So I'll see you guys soon.
Dude, we'll see you soon, Quez. And thank you so much for the words of wisdom. I really resonate with all of that. And dude, just much respect, big love. Best of luck with everything, Nametag. We're really excited to see you grow in the space, and reach out anytime, man. I really didn't realize that you were part of MBHQ, so would love to see you in there and chat anytime, dude. Really appreciate it. Thanks for all the wisdom. Thank you to the audience for tuning in, learning about Nametag, and being part of Metaverse headquarters today. We are an alpha community. Please look into our website and our Twitter. So much information there. So many great people really trying to build Web3 for the better. Thank you to everybody. I hope you have a great Saturday. And Quez, I hope you look like $1 million, baby. I know you will. Have fun on the date tonight.
One love. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Quez.